On the eve of the total eclipse, Alan Hynek and I cover some of the big feats that have been going down around the world and discuss perhaps the biggest feat of the year. All of this and more in this week's episode 26 of This Week in Grip. Hey everybody, this is Jedd Johnson here from Diesel Crew. You can call me Napalm. I've got Alan on the line, and I want to real quick just remind everybody that the hashtag for our show is This Week in Grip. We'll be looking at that hashtag today as we go. And then also don't forget to subscribe, leave comments, give us suggestions for the call, share the call, and most importantly, hit that like button so that our show can be shared around YouTube even more often, presented in front of everybody's eyes, more eyes every week. Because remember, everybody, the first rule of grip sport is you tell everyone about grip sport. Alan, episode 26 is here. How you been doing, buddy?
Oh, not too bad. Things have been going pretty decent in training. Got a few skin tears kind of slowing me down, but other than that, real good. How about yourself?
Things are going well, buddy. Actually did a 3.5-hour session with Luke and Big Joe Sullivan, who came down from Syracuse. We went to a gym that's in Wysox. Wysox is like one of the next towns over. It's one of our friends' gyms. We go over there, every couple weeks or so. So we went over there instead of just hanging out at my spot. And like I said, we were there about 3.5 hours. We got a lot of work done. We did the August of Arms routine for the day, did a little extra chest work, did some back work, did tons of grip, did some arm wrestling training. It was a great session, lots of fun. Probably one of the best sessions that I've had all year as far as like enjoying the actual session. Then afterwards, put in about 3.5 hours of work in preparation for Luke's wedding. His wedding is coming up on the first Saturday in September. So I just can't believe how much work they've been putting in. They turned like a large portion of the yard where they live. They live on this big plot of land, and they've turned a great portion of that area into the spot for the wedding. I've been up there twice now working. We laid all kinds of grass seed down, covered that with straw. Then we kind of cleaned up the region that's right by the road there because it was all covered in like big jagged stone and stuff like that. They've rebuilt this stone wall up there on this plot that used to be a barn. It used to be a barn back in the day for horses and cows, I guess pigs, even mink were in there at one time. And the stone wall was all knocked over, so they reconstructed that. Last time I was up there, this area was like just, it looked like a stone quarry almost. It looked like you go in there and like find just a million stones, make a million stone walls. And now it's all cleaned up. They laid like big gravel down and then small gravel on top of it to make it look more appealing. They've got like this archway built up there for the bar, for the reception, because the wedding's going to be there, the reception is going to be there. I can't even imagine how many man hours have gone into it. They've been working on it for over a year. It's really going to be awesome here the first week in September. It was a busy day. Then my daughter and I capped it off. They had a fireworks show in my hometown, so we drove over there and watched that from my cousin's house, and it was really nice, really nice. The weather, it stopped. It was pouring here around like 8 o'clock, and then by 9 it was done, and then they had the fireworks show at 9:30, so it worked out perfectly. So yesterday was a real good day for me, man. Alan, are you planning on tuning in to this eclipse that's supposed to be taking place tomorrow?
I'm going to try to check it out. Yeah. Yep. That should be interesting. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully things work out for me as planned anyway. How about you?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know what time it's supposed to be. Do you know?
I really don't know, I guess, actually. Was it? I thought it was going to kind of be in the afternoon or something like that, but maybe I'm wrong. I thought that was when it was supposed to be, but
yeah, and it's very possible. I think it's called the line of totality, which is where the sun is actually going to be blacked out completely by the moon. I think that's more south. So I've heard of like half a dozen families that have gone down to like the Virginia area in order to be able to watch this thing tomorrow. There were a bunch of people missing from church and stuff like that. It's like people are like all gung-ho about seeing this thing. So I don't know how much is going to be visible here. I also didn't think ahead and order like the special glasses that you have to wear because the sun will like burn out your eyeballs and you'll be walking around with like flaming eyes. I've heard someone said that. So I didn't get those. And then I remember one time when I was a kid, there was an eclipse, and they showed this thing on like, I don't know, Good Morning America or something like that, where you build this box and you're able to look into the box, and then like the light is diffused over a bunch of reflections or something like that, and then it's not as dangerous for your eyes. So I didn't make one of those either. I probably would have yesterday, but I was busy with the work on the wedding, so that's my excuse there. But I don't know. Alan, do you know, can I just wear like a welding mask and look up at the sun without going blind?
It's funny you say that, actually. I'm looking up a little bit of stuff about that right now. I'm on, it looks like, I don't know if I'm on NASA's website or something like that, or what this is.
Well, that's a good resource. That's a good, reliable resource. What do they say?
Unsafe except during the brief total phase of a solar eclipse when the moon entirely blocks the sun's bright surface, which will happen only within the narrow path of totality. So the only safe way to look directly at the uneclipsed or partially eclipsed sun is through special purpose solar filters such as eclipse glasses or handheld solar viewers. Homemade filters or ordinary sunglasses, even very dark ones, are not safe for looking at the sun.
Right.
So they're actually what they're saying is that it's not the eclipse to look at per se that's a bad idea. It's staring at the sun is what the real problem is.
Right.
So yeah, I would think as long as you had something exceptionally dark, I mean, it sounds like that's still not the greatest idea, but that probably wouldn't be you're just probably not going to be able to stare at it for very long.
Yeah. It didn't say anything specifically about a welding mask, though, because I do own one of those.
No, nothing specifically about that, actually, no. But that would probably, I would think that would get you in a pretty good place. I would try that if I had one. So.
Well, I've heard. So my reasoning there, Alan, is that I have heard that arc flashes, like electrical explosions that come from like a breaker box and stuff like that. I have heard that those are hotter than the surface of the sun. Now, how anybody would know the exact temperature of the sun's surface is beyond me, seeing how certainly nobody's been there that I know of. But they estimate, and I've heard it in instructional classes for OSHA and stuff like that. These arc explosions are hotter than the surface of the sun. So is it safe to assume that the arc that's created during the welding process is at least somewhat as strong and bright as the sun? Because if the welding glasses are good enough to be staring at that, maybe I'm good to go for looking at the sun. I'm not necessarily obsessed with looking at this eclipse or anything. And in fact, I might be busy during the time that this eclipse is taking place, so I might not even be able to go look at it anyway. But, I'd like to be prepared in the case that I am available. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, my uneducated reasoning is that the welding mask would be, I would think you'd be good there because to my understanding, the arc would be a worse thing. You've probably heard of arc eye and things like that, for example, where people do welding or even people not welding for that example, but if they become exposed to somebody nearby that's doing some welding and they're exposed to that arc flash, it actually kind of, it does something to the eye, but it makes them feel like they've effectively got sand in it, to my understanding. And that's with very minimal exposure. So, whereas the sun, you look up at the sun or near it and you kind of cover your eyes, but other than that, there's nothing really afterwards. You just looked at something bright, you know.
Right.
And so that's my reasoning behind it. But I wouldn't, I guess, encourage everybody to buy a welding helmet and stare at it and test the theory. But I would think that would be better than your garden variety, you know, sunglasses anyways.
Right.
So.
Well, I guess really, I mean, as we're recording this, it's 1:15 Eastern time on Sunday. And as I look out the window, it looks like pretty clear skies. I don't see a lot of overcast right now. I could probably take my welding mask, which is no more than 3 feet away from me at this point, and go outside and stare at the sun. And if I can look at it with no negative impact, I guess I'll probably be all right for the eclipse tomorrow, if I find out what time it's actually supposed to take place.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah, and it looks like for me it's supposed to be at 1:11 tomorrow afternoon for my zip code.
1:11.
Yep.
So
yep.
your 1:11 is what? My 3:11. So what time is it at your place right now?
It's 2:11. Yep.
Just an hour.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. All right. Very good.
And I should be able to pull that off. I might be able to be on the roof of a building tomorrow at that time, so that could be good. You know?
Yeah. So just in case people don't know, Alan, why don't you tell everybody what it is that you do so that we can find out a little bit more about you, dude?
So I do heating and air conditioning, but it's not the type that involves, you know, furnaces and air conditioners in people's houses. I'm on the commercial and industrial side of it. So the bulk of what I do is large boilers and chillers, probably more involved with boilers these days. So the largest boilers that I work on, they're classified in different ways, but the largest ones that I work on are about 1,000 horsepower. So that's roughly 38 million BTUs. Mm-hmm. So, you know, most people that would be listening to this and have furnaces in their house, for example, typically 100,000 BTUs would be a good size for your average furnace. So this is that much larger that I work on. So I do a lot with hot water, high pressure steam, and then chilled water systems, various types of reciprocating and screw type chillers. Just for large buildings, schools, hospitals, jails, institutions is predominantly the areas that I work on.
Okay, so like maybe even factory size boilers and units.
Yep, that's cool. Absolutely correct. Yep. We get into a lot of. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, just a lot of larger places like that. But yeah, big companies, places of business. Like I said, there's lots of hospitals, jails we do work at, a bunch of new schools, factories for sure, things along those lines. Lots of schools and stuff.
Right.
For sure. But yep.
When I was at the beef plant still, we had, I think, an 1,100 horsepower boiler, and I remember it was so loud in there that you had to not only wear earplugs, but then also the ear muffs over the earplugs in order to bring the noise levels down in acceptable levels according to OSHA. So do you have to do that kind of thing as well when you're working on these boilers?
With the largest ones, a lot of times I do wear hearing protection. Yes, it's not always necessary, but some of them are exceptionally noisy. They have very large blowers on them, and so when they're actually firing, the amount of noise is quite loud. It makes working on them very difficult. But I typically don't have to wear two forms of hearing protection. Yeah, just standard earplugs is usually enough. But yeah, a lot of places have even rules in addition to that, safety glasses, things like that. A lot of that stuff gets exceptionally hot too. So it's a lot of special provisions there. So
when I was on the emergency response team, and we would do like mock drills, mock rescues and stuff like that. And one time we had to dress up in like level A emergency gear and like save dummies from the boiler room in like the middle of July or August. And it was hot in there anyway. Like if you walked in there during the dead of winter, it would be 80, 85 degrees. And then we were in there when it was 90 plus in the middle of summer, having to go in there with fully encapsulated gear. So you can imagine how hot, uncomfortable, and sweaty this was. environments like that, but it was insane how hot it was inside of there. You know, just to walk through there was uncomfortable, and that was just with a hard hat, hearing protection, and eye protection, and then whatever you wore to the office that day. But to go in with fully encapsulating equipment it's basically like being covered up with like a blue or camouflage tarp, and then having a plastic screen to look through in order to be able to see. And you can't touch anything or feel anything really because you have gloves that are like sealed to the uniforms as well. It was just crazy. I don't know if you ever had to do anything like that.
Nothing like that, but I'm definitely familiar with the high temperatures in the room. But yeah, being basically, you know, all wrapped up in what would effectively be like winter clothing and going in there, I would imagine that would be quite miserable. So those rooms, it's brutally hot, you know, well over 100 degrees most times. So even when it's cold outside, it can be like that. So it's amazing.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, thanks for sharing a little bit about what you do. Man, I'll tell you what, dude. What do you think was the feat of the week from the last few weeks here? I know it's been a while since we covered feats, but in my opinion, you know, there was one that went down here not too long ago that was very, very impressive. But what do you think? What would you point to?
I got to hand it to Morgan Choi. He climbed the last two rungs of the Mash Monster ladder exceptionally fast and officially made short work of the MM8 and dominated it. The set was powerful, the close, everything about it looked good. He's that guy was made to shut huge grippers.
Right.
So
yeah, I fully agree.
Okay.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. I didn't see the video. I have not been on the grip board, but Luke told me about it. He said it looked like it was no problem for him, that he's got room for a little bit more.
Yes.
Because in the message that was, is there a Mash Monster 9? And I'm like, what are you asking about this for? What do you know what I mean? It didn't make any sense why he was asking me, and then he proceeded to tell me that Morgan closed the level 8. So I could see where he was coming from there. But, you said it was pretty darn powerful, huh?
It was, yeah. And you know, prior to that, you know, he had just shot the MM7 and requested the 8. And if you look at any of the other videos of people going after Mash Monster 7, Morgan made it look easy. The set was, I mean, it was perfect. It was just almost effortless for him, where other people almost seemed to have struggled with it. But then he had a solid pause, and then went for the close. It was just very, very deliberate. You know, it was there was just no struggle for it. It was amazing. And the 8 was definitely not that easy, but it didn't. You know, it absolutely looked like he had more in the tank. So good for him. It's neat seeing one guy at the top. But yeah, you know, from indications in the past, there's absolutely a Mash Monster 9 and 10 at least, from what I've heard on the grip board. So, and you know, Morgan got his invite to be in the grip well, so people could pick his brain about his training, and it sounds like he might take a crack at the MM9 just to see. He didn't seem overly confident that closing it would necessarily be there, more or less a feeling it out phase. But I agree with him. Why not? He just did what nobody else had done. So, well,
why don't you tell everybody what exactly the grip well is? Because I know that not everyone that listens to the show is a member of the grip board, or maybe they're newer to the grip board, and maybe they haven't seen that. So why don't you tell everybody about the grip well?
Sure. So on the grip board, they have an area that's known as the grip well. And that is where people that are kind of at the upper echelon of grip sports and grip training get invited in to share aspects of their training and things they've accomplished and give people kind of, I guess, just additional insight into what they've done and how they've gone about getting to where they're at. In the past, there have been a number of people in the grip well. Just off the top of my head, I believe you've been in there, Jedd.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, Jason Steves, David Horn, Chris Rice, Cody Burns has been in there, Aaron Corcoran, and those are just, I know there's been other guys as well. Those are just the ones that immediately come to the top of my head. But all kinds of people that have done great things and sharing a lot of their experiences and different training ideas. So,
right.
and this would be, this is just a golden opportunity to whip out all your questions there, and he's been very fast at responding to them. His training is rather interesting. That surprised me a little bit, but it's just a good idea to hear some insight that you otherwise might not be available to you.
Cool. I can't wait to check that out. I'll be looking at that here pretty soon. I like reading those myself. Anything else to go over along the lines of his close? Was there anything else that was exceptional about it? Did he just? I was wondering, did he just hit it one time and then he was done with it, or did he go for maybe another single or anything?
No, I only saw the video of the one close. So I don't know what else was out there or not. And that was all it looked like that it showed up on YouTube also from what I had seen. So, okay. And I don't recall any other commentary from him on that either, actually. So.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, before we started up, we kind of just brainstormed a few things that we need to cover, and Allen mentioned that there's been a handful of contests that have taken place since SJ4. So, Allen, why don't you go ahead and run down some of those contests and some of the things that you found out about them? I know in some cases there hasn't been a ton of information about them, but go ahead and share what you have.
All right. Well, so David Horn had his fourth Gripathon. Todd Beecraft had the Northwest Strong Grip Championships, and Marco Bull had a competition as well. And unfortunately, that is about the extent of what I know. I hadn't seen anything personally. There was just the brief remark on the grip board about Marco Bull's comp. I had looked in several places for information about Todd Beecraft's competition, and I didn't really see much update on Facebook or anything about that. And let me see if I can find. I know David Horn had something posted about his. Let me see if I can bring that up right now.
What was his competition? What was the name of it, Allen?
David Horn's. It was the fourth Gripathon. This was kind of like an invite only almost kind of competition. I think he kind of capped it at a certain amount of competitors. And
okay. I've got all the information on that right here, Allen. So
okay, good.
I can cover some of that if you'd like.
Sure. Yeah, I would like to hear more about that because it sounded like I said, almost kind of a. Just very few people actually go to that one, and so it's kind of a top tier sort of thing, from my understanding. And he doesn't even have them all that often.
Right. Well, and when you hear Gripathon, you think kind of like decathlon or triathlon, so multiple events. With a decathlon, it's from track, right, with like 10 events going on. So sure. It looks to me that at this particular contest, there were not one, not 4 or 5, not 10, but 26 individual events that were taking place. So that could be one of the big contributors as to why it was such a limited entry for this one. And sure. I even see that a guy that has been involved in grip ever since even before I was, even took part in this competition, which Nick is extremely busy as a Hollywood stuntman. So he's been in a lot more movies than you realize. You've probably seen him, with a mask on or some kind of crazy makeup, or you've seen him from a different angle where you couldn't make it out that it was his face. But he's actually a stuntman. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
No, is that Nick Redding? Is that who you're talking about?
Nick who?
What's the guy's last name?
Nick McKinless.
Oh, McKinless. Okay, no, I haven't. I'm not actually even familiar with that name. So okay, cool.
Yeah. If you Google it, if you Google dieselcrew.com and Nick McKinless, you'll be able to read an interview that I did with him several years ago when I used to do the Iron Masters. It was like people over 40 that have done exceptional things, and you could nominate them for that kind of recognition. I did a little interview with him. Pretty cool dude. Pretty exceptional strength, stays in fantastic shape all year long. Got like the Hollywood, I forget what it's called. There's a name for it, but like the V-shaped torso and all that stuff. He's in exceptional condition. Very muscular and things like that. Plus, he's very, very strong dude. So you can check that out if you like sometime. But the events here. Let's go down to the events. So this is the order. So you're going to hear a number and then an event, and I'll go ahead and read this down. So 1 was axle deadlift, double overhand thumbless grip, 20-inch lift with, now is this everybody doing the same weight? 1 second here. Nope. So David did 187.36K. Second event was shallow hub key pinch lift. Third was loose plate one-hand pinch lift. 4, 2 hands pinch barbell lift. 5, stub lift. 6, 76 millimeter rolling handle lift, thumbless. 7, Olympic bar, double overhand thumbless grip and hold. 8, gold bar pinch lift. 9, grippers, silver bullet with a number 4. 10, pickaxe supine forearm lift. 11, handshake lift. 12, 6 millimeter 2 hands pinch and hold. 13, bare hand reverse bending, yay. 14, half a penny, hold. 15, the V2 Vulcan gripper with 20 millimeter block. 18, rolling thunder hold. 17, so that was 16. Rolling thunder was 16. 17, wrist developer. 18, 50 millimeter 2 hands pinch hold. 19, pickaxe lever to front, hold. 20, 50 millimeter rolling handle, hold. 21, horn top hold. 22, 2 6-inch nails taped together, snapped. 23, moon top hold. 24, gripper with 30 millimeter block. 25, pinch round the car tire. And then 26 was Orbi grip for 100 revolutions. So are there any events there, Alan, that you're not familiar with?
Yes, a number of them.
Okay.
That is a boatload.
Which ones
events.
what were some of them that you remember? Because I think I know all these events.
Well, I've heard of the Orbigrip, but I've never seen it. I don't even know actually what it is. That car tire pinch one that you mentioned, that one didn't.
See, that's cool. Dude, do you have David's pinch DVD from like 2004 that he put out?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So I figured for sure you'd have that, but he doesn't. I don't think he sells it anymore. So basically, he takes a car tire, like an old spent car tire that you wouldn't put on your car, and then he puts a plate inside of it, or maybe like a big like shot put or something like that, and then he grips it like 2-hand pinch with the weight inside of it, and then he turns it around like around the world, working his grip around the tire without setting it down. And that's it's like a really cool open hand strength type of training drill. It's pretty cool. If you have a tire, it's pretty nice.
Sure.
And then he says that he did 10 kilos for 5 revolutions. So maybe it's a timed event. You had to get around there for speed. I'm not sure. And then the Orbi grip is this thing where you kind of hold it like you're holding a pistol, and then it's got this arm on top of it that swings around in a circle. So it's kind of like an orbit, thick orbit grip. The thing goes around revolutions, and you can add weight to it. I've got one. I've got like a mock-up version here somewhere, and it's pretty cool. It says that he did 100 revolutions with 2.5 kilos, so that's a little over 5 pounds for 100 revolutions. I mean, that's some decent time under tension. So sounds like that one was for time. Most of these things, I believe, were for time. Timed holds, get things done as quickly as possible, stuff like that. So most of them were probably just one attempt. But what else weren't you familiar with?
That was actually really the only one, I think.
Yeah.
Well, other than I'm looking at this list, the handshake lift.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that doesn't sound. I don't think I've ever heard of one like that.
Okay, so I think what that is like a horn top. Or a grip top, I should say, that looks like a vertical bar.
Okay. I think I can envision how you would hold that already. Okay, all right.
I think that's what that is. I saw a picture of it on Facebook at some point, and someone asked, is that the handshake lift? And David confirmed that it is the handshake lift. So it looks like it might be like a 1 inch or 2 inch or maybe 1.5 inch vertical bar type grip that attaches to the Grip Tops loading pin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Boy,
there's so many events here, you can't really go through and say what everybody got, but I thought maybe I'd go through the competitor list real quick just to see who all competed.
Sure.
We got, whoa. Let's not go too quick here. All right, here we go. David Horn, Nick McKinless, so we've mentioned those two names. Ruben Hughes, which is a name that we've heard before from, especially from the Steel Shredder competition. Rob Blair, which is, I know at one time he was the world record holder on the meat hooks, and he's a very, very light body weight. He weighed in at 84.6 kilograms on the day. Fitz DeBova, which we've heard about from the Steel Shredder competition in the past. Maxwell Thompson, which I don't know if you have him as a friend on Facebook, but he, I believe he does mostly running these days. I'm not sure how much he does grip training. He doesn't post about it too much. I usually see stuff about like running, if I've got the right guy. Elizabeth Horn, Maya Shalchi, which she also competed in the Steel Shredder competition. And I believe she is, I want to say the girlfriend or fiance of Rob Blair. And it looks like that's it. It looks like six competitors. So 2 ladies and the rest men. And I don't know if that order indicates the placements that they came in. I really don't know. That just happens to be the order that they were listed in for the results. So there you go, Alan.
Nice. 26 events. That's a boatload.
Yeah.
Can't imagine how long it takes to run that. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, buddy.
All right.
So what were the other contests? We had the Grip Strong or something like that, Northwestern Grip Strong or something like that.
The Northwest Strong Grip Championships.
Yeah.
That was Todd Beecraft's one. It was kind of like a grip and strongman type of competition. But let me see if I can find that. I thought, he has the Northwest Grip Enthusiast group, and there was, I really don't remember seeing much about it in there. I know, John Clark Eklund, I believe he was there. I don't know if he competed or not, but I thought he had mentioned something about it. Yeah, but I just didn't see anything, any official results or anything like that. I had dug around and
seeing it either myself.
Nothing popped up. So, but it looked like,
if I did see it, I didn't capture it. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked nice, like he had some nice trophies and he had planned it out well in advance. And I do think he capped the amount of competitors for that one too, if I'm not mistaken. But he had some, just off the top of my head from some of the competitions, there was like a truck rope pull or something like that. There were some pulls, some different type things, but it was kind of a strongman / a grip event. So it actually would have been a really neat one to see, but
yeah,
but no, unfortunately, nothing else about that. And likewise for Marco Bull's one, I believe that was I thought that was even a grip championship. Let me see if I can find anything on the grip board about that right now. But that was one that just kind of snuck up and was there and then gone, and I didn't see anything. Didn't really get downwind of anything on it.
Right.
Let's see here. Well,
you take a look real quick. I'm going to read something that Becca Roberts sent in because we talked about some of her stats recently, and then she also wanted to weigh in with some information that she had on. Do you remember like a few weeks back, dude? We talked about what the standard should be for the inch dumbbell for women.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I would like to hear what she has to say. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I got it right here. So this is from Becca Roberts, and she says, "Hi, Jedd, another great episode again. I saw you mentioned I pulled 130 kilograms on the axle. I have recently trained this as we have it in the World Grip Championships in September, and my best so far is 140 kilograms, 308 pounds, which I believe is the most that's been pulled by any female on any type of axle, double overhand. And she sent the video below. With regard to the inch for female grip enthusiasts, I'd say the baby inch, 53 kilograms, is an elite female standard. But I don't think it should be any less, because an inch is usually a long-term goal for people. My strength on this type of feat, for reference, although it was first time trying it, was maxing out at 46 kilograms, 102 pounds, on a Fat Grips Extreme over a thick-handled solid dumbbell. So basically a 3.5-inch handled inch dumbbell around 2 weeks ago. Not sure what it would equate to on the normal inch handle. So the actual inch is, roughly speaking, 2.5 inches. So she lifted on something that was an inch larger in diameter, being that it was a fat, pretty thick-handled solid dumbbell. So she got 102 on that. That sounds like a really, really good lift for that thick of a handle. So I wouldn't doubt it if she could lift pretty darn close to 53 kilograms, a 53 kilogram challenge dumbbell myself. Of course, you never know. Thicknesses can get very, very hard, even with just slight increases. So it's hard to tell, but I really appreciate Becca weighing in on that. She left that comment, I believe, on the actual, either the episode of This Week in Grip on YouTube or when I shared it on Facebook. So thanks for sending that in, Becca. Much appreciated. What are your thoughts on that, Alan? Anything?
I think that sounds like a reasonable weight. I had picked something a little higher than that, but I definitely wanted to hear what the ladies had to say, and I also agree. I don't think she would have any problem hitting that 53 kilogram bell if that was in front of her to actually work with. What she pulled with the larger handle, that's impressive to say the least. But her crusher numbers already exceed what that 53K bell would be. So I don't think that's right. I don't think she'd have any problem with that. I think she's, though that would probably be a good starting number for the women competitors. I think she could go a little heavier than that. It's my gut feel. So I think I personally think what we refer to as the baby inch over here would be a good long-term goal for her. I think she could hit that without too much difficulty with some good solid training for it.
Right. I hear you. I agree. She's definitely gifted, and I can't wait to see her. If she can ever get her hands on one of those, it'll be awesome to see. Let's see. I don't know, Alan. Was there anything else you wanted to tackle before we got into the rundown on feats that have taken place?
A couple of upcoming things I wanted to re-mention. John McCarter's Missouri Grip Challenge Volume 2 is coming up again on September 16th, 2017. The information, we had covered this previously, but he does have the information posted on the grip board about that. Let me get back. Joe Musselwhite also has a grip seminar coming up on the same day in Fort Worth. It looks like that was going to be at the Metroflex gym. I need to try to get back to Facebook here so I can try to bring that up.
Yeah, that's the gym that's owned by Randy Delacruz that I was at in 2009 and competed with Paul Knight and Eric Milfeld. I got to meet Joe Musselwhite there, the Emery boys. I mean, the list goes on. Rex Hubbard, all of them were there. That was a really big contest. I want to say there were about 20 competitors there.
Oh, nice.
Including Randy. And Randy's very skilled too. He's more of a power lifter, I think you'd say, but I think he's a guy that you could just label as a strength enthusiast, and he thought it was cool to run a grip contest, and I think he ran a couple, maybe even a few there over the years.
Awesome. Yeah, I wasn't. That's definitely not one of the names that I had associated with grip, but I know Joe keeps bringing him up in the Facebook post. He's done some of these ones before. So, yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot about the specifics here, other than it's a grip seminar. So it looks like he's going to be explaining some grip feats, training things. Yes, Metroflex Gym in Fort Worth, with Randy Delacruz, a bunch of different sponsors for it.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you're one of them, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
You got Sorinex, Fat Bastard Barbell Company, Diesel Crew, Barrel Strength, Mammoth Grip Tools, Fat Grips, and Friction Labs. So, lots of good sponsors. It looks like, let's see here, every paid entry will receive a 1-month free membership to the Metroflex Gym. And that's about the extent of what I've got. But it looks like there's probably still room to sign up, because I do keep seeing that he has some continued updates on it on his Facebook page.
Cool.
Oh, and then one additional one. There's I don't know what his name is, but he goes by Honk on the grip board, and he's going to be the Sauerland Grip Challenge on September 23rd in Rixen, Germany. 2 different events. 2-hand axle, 2-hand pinch Euro, 20 millimeter block set grippers. Looks like there's not going to be any weight classes. Just going to have an overall winner and a winner based on the Wilks system. But that is one coming up for anybody in that area on the 23rd of September. And that is about what I have for upcoming things, unless there's some other ones that I've overlooked. But those are the ones that stood out anyway.
Cool, man. Good rundown, buddy. Way to cover it all. I hope that Joe Musselwhite records his seminar. That would be really cool, that if we could buy a copy of it for those of us who aren't able to travel. I actually have, once we get everything covered, I'm going to tell everybody about a very cool trip that I have coming up. Just found out about it today. Well, it's been in talks for a while, but it just got confirmed today, so we'll be talking about that pretty soon. But it's going to kind of put a kibosh on any other traveling that I do for a while. So we'll talk about that later. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, so stick around for the end of the show and we'll talk about that. Anything else, Alan, that you'd want to cover before we start running through some of these feats that people have been knocking down?
I guess just a few Ironman news updates, but they'll technically fall into the feats category. This is something I wanted to bring up from a while back. But you and I had mentioned previously, that they had started, Ironman was going to be starting a Rolling Thunder Chins world record for women. And a lady finally stepped up. Her name was Christiane Schmidt. Hit 7 reps for the Rolling Thunder chin-ups. And I believe she did this at that one grip challenge that we were talking about, Marco Bulls, which I still haven't been able to find much on, unfortunately. But this was from about a month ago that she did that. So congratulations for her. I'm glad finally somebody, I'm not familiar with that name, but it was good to see that somebody came out and did it. And now we'll hopefully get to see some other challengers step in and try to top that one.
Yeah, buddy.
And a gentleman by the name of Mike Murray recently asserted the number 3 Captains of Crush. And to say asserted was an understatement. He absolutely devoured that thing. So it
was short work of it. It was short work.
Yep, for sure.
It's Murray Strongman on Instagram, I believe. Murray Strongman, Murray Strongman.
Yeah, and it looks like he's already going to be trying to make a run up the Mash Monster ladder on the grip board as well. I think he submitted his MM0, and I imagine we'll start seeing him make his way up that. And then, of course, Tanner Merkel, he came back in and he officially asserted the Ironman red nail.
The Tanner.
Yep. So he's on the list now. So one more thing checked off for him.
Good job, Tanner. Way to go, buddy. Making an impact, dude. Making an impact.
And that is what I had for the latest from Ironman, and it pretty much summed up what I had seen on the grip board as well.
Cool, man. Sweet. Wow. So where would you like to begin with the feats, brother? I know we're covering like several weeks, probably even more than a month, really, as far as feats to cover. So why don't you go ahead and start, do a few, and then I'll jump in, and we'll just trade back and forth.
All right. Well, so had you seen the trend lately? We're seeing a big resurgence in the Rolling Thunder here. Lots of people doing Rolling Thunder curls, even seeing some thumbless Rolling Thunder lifts. The curls were something. Lately, the ones that I had seen, Pat Maisels came out and hit one. It hit about 72.5 pounds for a single. Then we saw Thomas Larson come in and hit about the same thing for a double. And then he turned around and did a 3-inch lift on, looks like the Monster Crush, the larger Country Crush type handle, with 82 pounds on it. So that's a neat twist on the August of Arms concept. Haven't seen a lot of Rolling Thunder stuff in the past like that. And
I got to give that a try while I'm still training biceps. I just haven't taken the time to do it. So that's got to be vicious. Who started that, Alan? My memory's horrible. Who actually started that, would you say?
I don't know who started with the curls, but we started seeing. I thought things actually started with like a bunch of thumbless Rolling Thunder lifts. And I don't know if it was on if Ricardo Magni was one of the first people recently to put one up, but then I think Marco Bull chimed in, and then all of a sudden we started seeing a bunch of other people pounding them out. Brian Hunsaker did it, Thomas Larson, Jesse Panonen, a bunch of those guys, and they're hitting some big numbers too. I mean, Thomas Larson hit like over 100 kilograms, so that's solid. Jesse Panonen, 110.9 kilos. These are big thumbless lifts. So but the Rolling Thunder curls. I don't know who started that, but it was a neat idea. I was hoping. I like it when those new things come up and everybody kind of starts trying to one up each other. Interesting way to go about it.
I think the first person I saw doing it was Timmy. So I'm not sure if he actually started it or not, but I remember he was the first one I saw doing it. But I've had so many. I've been traveling so much that it's possible I missed the first few. And then the way Instagram works, like I'll see stuff. I'll log on, and it'll be the first time I've seen this, but it shows up that it's like actually from 3 days ago. So I don't even know, man. It's so hard to really find stuff, in order, figure out the order if you haven't been staying right on top of it. So I don't know if you did or not. Maybe someone could let us know.
Yeah, I noticed that same thing about Instagram, and I actually thought it was like a bug on my phone, and I needed to throw that app out and reinstall it or something like that. But I guess if it's happening to other people, then that's a whole different story. Okay.
Wow, dude! I just logged in on Instagram and checked out the hashtag This Week in Grip. We're over 400 posts for This Week in Grip. 422, it says.
422. Yep. So it's climbing.
Yeah, for sure. One of the ones that I saw here. Now this is going back a few weeks, but I don't know if we talked about. Josh Hensey put up a post where he was doing kind of a combo lift, a 64 kilogram strength shot bell plus a 90-pound anvil lift. So that's something that you don't usually see a lot of people doing, is like a circus bell, challenge bell, plus an anvil lift. A lot of times you'll see plate pinches, jobs done in combination, but not so many of the like with an anvil going on there.
I missed that one. When was that? That was recently?
No, it wasn't necessarily recently, dude. This is going back, several weeks. This has been on my list to cover for several weeks. But and then he blindsided me. He button hooked me. He left a comment on last week's episode, and I didn't realize what his YouTube channel name was. He came out with some like a random statement about something, and I was like, "Who the hell are you?" or something like that. Like, why would you come on here and say that? Like, it seemed inappropriate or whatever. I'll have to look it up to be sure, because now I can't remember what the heck it was. But then I was like, who the heck? But in my mind, honestly, I was like, who the heck is this guy? And I clicked on his thing and it was Josh Hensey. So then I felt like an idiot and I apologized to him.
Oh, you let him have it, huh?
Well, I wasn't too bad, you know what I mean? But I was like, why would this guy be saying this? Maybe I took it wrong. I don't know, but let's see.
This was on comment from the last one that we did.
Oh yes. So we were recognizing people that helped out with FJ4, and some, this is kind of random. I don't associate this with Josh Hensey, but it's Barnyard 412, right? And he said,
okay.
That's my wife. That's my wife, Jedd. She's my wife. You're going to get me in trouble. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? It just didn't make any sense to me. So I said, no idea what you were talking about. So then I was like, well, maybe I'll click on it and see who it is. And I clicked on it. Sure enough, it's Josh Hensey. So I said, Josh, I'm sorry. I didn't know who you were. I thought you were some random. I apologize, but yeah, I was like, what the heck is going on here? And that's really the only comment that we got. I figured we would see more comments last week, but I don't know if we pissed people off or what. But maybe we also didn't get a lot of views last week, so maybe they just didn't have time to watch it once it did get put up, episode 25. But I don't know.
Sure.
Who knows? But yeah, so there's one for Josh. There was another one, another old one. My friend Joe Sullivan that comes down here and trains, and he was here yesterday. You ever seen the brick lifts that people used to do back in the day, but they don't really do them too much anymore? The brick lifts where they grab onto one brick and then there's a stack of more bricks at the end of the brick that you're gripping onto.
I've never seen that. I've only heard of that.
Yeah, so he did a brick lift with 10 bricks. Like that's really good. That's really good, dude. 10 bricks.
Nice. I guess I figured that was one that, since Iron Mine had that implement out for that, I guess I figured that would have replaced some of that. I didn't even realize that people were actually still doing that. So,
and there's not a lot of people doing that, but there's also not a lot of people doing the stacker either, the Iron Mine piece that they put out. So I think it's more like one of those things that's been lost because it's not in a grip contest and nobody really keeps track of the weights on that list, so there's not a lot of motivation for people to go after big lifts with it. So,
sure.
But Joe is still new to this, so I think he does like some Google searching and looks up that stuff and saw it, and he has a bunch of bricks, so he went for it. So I think that's the story. I remember when I first got involved with grip, I think it was like Tom Black's website, and that's like one of the oldest grip websites that's online, and I think he's got pictures of some dude doing a brick lift, and it actually looks just like Joe Sullivan. It's like a redheaded, strongman looking dude. So, he kind of wanted to do that. So good job to him. And then yesterday he smoked me on 2-inch vertical bar. I haven't been going real heavy on that or anything, but he doubled or even tripled a weight that I missed. And then he went up above that. So I think he's going to plan on competing in King Kong this year, which would be cool.
He tripled a weight that you missed?
He tripled a weight that I missed. Yeah. He tripled it.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, he's pretty strong. He's a pretty strong dude. Like I say, that 10 bricks lift is no joke. That's when I first started, I tried it and I didn't get anywhere near that. So I went and I don't know if we bought bricks or where we got the bricks, but got them from somewhere.
Is that kind of the gold standard number on that? Like 10, that would be like a blob lift or an inch lift, or is that the amount people would aspire to hit?
I think so. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Nice.
And like I said, I mean, there's one person out there who is called Gary the Brickman Brown. I don't know if you know that name.
No.
Gary Brown. So he does brick lifting performances in his strongman shows that he does, his demonstrations that he does. But he doesn't do it stacked up like that. He'll do it where the bricks are standing up, kind of in like a columnar fashion, and then he wraps his arms around them and grabs like the outer edges, and then compresses his chest strength and lifts them that way. And then he's got multiple bricks stacked up on the bottom tier of bricks. So, kind of brick lifting he does, and he's one of the he's the only guy I know that does it. So I have to call him. I have to say he's the best. There could be dudes out there doing more, but I don't know of anybody. But really, that's the only kind of brick lifting that I've seen in probably the last 5 years, aside from what Joe did the other day.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah. The other thing I was going to say, I want to give some recognition to Jerome Bloom. I know that his active days are going to be limited here pretty soon because he's got surgery coming up, and he has absolutely just destroyed the numbers on the bull ring, the 4-inch bull ring, for his hand size class. And I'm trying to bring up the information, but the only place I know where it is on my timeline, and I don't know how to directly go to that on Facebook. So I might have to put like the specific in the description box of this video. But man, he has just put up some incredible numbers, both for the lift for 1 repetition max, and then also on the holds. Just insane.
Yeah. The last lift I caught from him was 53.2 pounds with the 4-inch bull ring, and I know
that sounds about right.
I'd seen some holds too.
Yeah, I have a video here that he sent me, 53.2 pounds, which is 24.1 kilograms, and that was done for a one rep hold lift here as well. Let me bring this up. Yeah, so he did the 4-pound bull ring and held that for 5 and 19 seconds, 5.19 seconds maybe. I don't know. What's 5 and 19 seconds? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I guess I'm not.
19 seconds. It was like and sometimes can be used to constitute a decimal place. So I didn't know if maybe or a decimal at least. Well, let's watch the video and see what he does here. That's a good way to do it. I love when he's lifting in his little shed there because it looks like it's snowing in there. I love that.
Oh, I know it. I know it. Yep. And it's always really, really dark. It seems like.
Yeah, dude. Oh, it might be he might do it 5 with one hand and 19 with the other because he's hitting it left hand right here. Got it up. I mean, this guy attacks the holds. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I think he goes 5 with the left and then 19 with the right.
I really like his hub lifts. He's really strict with his hand positioning and stuff. It's none of the stuff that people would debate with, thumb cocked and all that weird crap. He kind of positions it like exactly per Iron Mind rules. I really like that particular style.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. He's a machine on that. He just had like a 71-pound Iron Mind hub lift with a solid hold, 5 or 6 seconds, something like that. So
wow.
He was made to do that. Yep.
Yeah, dude, and that's what it was. It looks like it was 5 seconds left-handed and 19 seconds right-handed. So, I mean, that's far and away from whatever everybody else has sent in. So, special recognition to him. I haven't had the time to even update the records list on that lift. I did so far this month. I've done 18 hours of Spanish. So it's really eaten up a lot of my time and gotten in the way of a bunch of other stuff that I'd rather be doing. So I'm really behind on some of those administrative tasks that I would normally do with the website. What else, man? Maybe run down a couple of your feats that you've seen come across the board.
Yeah, I was just glancing at some of the stuff on on Instagram right now. I see Dan Fleming doing a two-fingered pinch on the flask, hitting 85 pounds on that. Yeah, so that's 10 pounds over what I can do with my whole hand. So that's a little embarrassing.
Well, Luke was doing that. Luke was doing that yesterday at the gym, and I couldn't believe how much he was lifting. He's been cutting himself left and right on that flask at my house, and then we went up to the gym up there, and he wasn't even going to train it. And then he said, all right, I'll go ahead and hit it. So he didn't recut for whatever reason. But he did some full hand stuff, then he did some of that two-hand stuff. He may have put the video up, I'm not sure. But he was up around 85 pounds. I know that for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know what it is lately. Lots of tears coming up, it seems like. I know I saw that one that Luke had posted that too. I've had some. I think I've seen some other people too. I thought I was past it. It'd been a few months and bang.
Right.
I don't know. I figured once the weather warmed up, got a little more humidity in the air, some of that would go away. But no such luck.
Yeah. Luke never cuts. I mean, it was like 2.5 years where he didn't cut. I mean, I just don't even understand it. But I mean, there's only really one variable that's changed, so I don't know. I'm not sure. Must just not be his optimal width or something. There are tons of videos up here. I totally lost track how many videos are.
Yeah, there is a lot. Yep. I'm just scrolling through them right now.
Yeah. Becca's got a bunch of them up here. Paul Savage has got a bunch of them up here. I mean, they're like every other video pretty much. They've covered like half the videos.
Yes, they're very good about posting. Yeah.
Function.
Well, Becca, every time she steps in the gym, she's re-breaking her own world records on stuff. You know, between the blockbuster.
Isn't that crazy, dude? Isn't that insane?
Yeah. I tell you, I wish I could have that. I fight for every pound, you know, and she's going in and blowing things away by over a kilogram each time, it seems like. So definitely doing something right. I wouldn't mind. We need to get her in the grip well. I'll tell you that. With the bounds she makes.
Yeah, and on top of that, Alan, is she'll train for multiple competitions at once, and then also not just grip competitions, but grip and strongman, strongwoman championships. So she's balancing all of those demands in one program. And I know that I think there was one day she went to 3 different gyms in one day in order to be able to access all of the equipment she needed for that one day's training for the competitions that she was gunning for. And someone was like, well, it sounds like you're trying to do too much, or sounds like you're trying to make things too complicated for yourself. I couldn't resist. I weighed in and I was like, I don't think you understand how motivated Becca is and everything that she's truly training for. Because if someone says that just because she went to like multiple gyms in the same day, they obviously do not realize how motivated she is and how she throws herself into everything.
Well, absolutely, and it goes without saying too that with the progress she makes, she definitely has all the recoverability and everything that she needs. I think she's doing exactly the right amount. It's how it looks to me anyway. She definitely has an idea of what she's doing, and it's working.
For sure.
So
yeah. And Paul too. I mean, he's putting up tons of big numbers as well. I hate to spite him. He's hub support grip training that he's got going on. I mean, he's doing awesome too. Those guys are working together and producing some programming that's obviously working for both of them. At the same time. So
you know, on the subject of Paul, you know, it wasn't too long ago where he had. I haven't personally ever touched one of these grippers, but he was playing around with one of those heavy grips 400s and smashed that thing for like 20 straight reps. So, and that's got to be, wow. I mean, that's over 3 territory, isn't it? Over a COC 3?
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
yeah. So that's a bunch of beastly closes there. Yep.
Right.
Well, no, I really like watching their training videos. They put out a lot of good stuff on YouTube too, constant updates and explain some of their thinking with things. They have a lot of good content.
Yeah, dude. Sorry if I just overpowered the speakers with music. It was playing in the background of a video, and I couldn't figure out how to mute everything. So my bad there. Hey, you just brought up something, dude, and it reminds me of something we got to talk about. So you just mentioned the Heavy Grips 400, right?
Yep.
So I was sent a video. You know how we used to cover, grip strength stuff grip feats basically appearing in movies. Remember, and we've covered a few cool things that have come up where, my favorite was when we talked about Chuck Norris stopping the handsaw or the circular saw with his grip strength.
Yeah.
But I got one from Big Iric, and he sent me this video clip. He videotaped it off his screen, and let's see. So he tells me, he says, full scene from the series Limitless on Netflix. Are you familiar with this series, Alan? You watched that? Limitless?
I haven't watched it, but I have heard of it.
Okay, cool. So he sent me this little clip that he taped off his TV, and when I watched it the first time, I can't really give you any background on what's going on here because there was no audio with it, and right now I can't get it to play on my computer, so I don't know if maybe it expired or something like that. But all right, so here it goes. So I don't exactly know what's going on, but there's this dude in a red shirt in jail, and it looks like some people are coming to visit him. And as they're walking down the hall, there's a man and there's a woman, and the dude is carrying what looks to be like a Heavy Grips 300 gripper. So they're walking down the hall here, and he's kind of spinning the gripper around in his hand like he's got a finger in the spring, and he's kind of whipping it around in a circle. And there is some sound here, but it's so faint, dude, I can't even tell what they're saying. So now they come into this conference room in the jail, and the people sit down, and they're talking with this guy in the red shirt, and the dude hands the guy this Heavy Grip. It's obviously a Heavy Grips because it's stamping on the inside of the handle. So he hands it to the guy in the seat, and here's this also doubles as one of those editing errors that's obvious. I don't know if you ever saw. I'm sure you saw Rocky IV. So in the beginning, speaking of editing errors, there's this spot where Apollo Creed is in the ring dancing around in Rocky IV, and he's across the ring from Ivan Drago, the Russian, and he says, "I want you, I want you," and he points at him, and all of a sudden he doesn't have any boxing gloves on. It's just his taped hands.
Oh, nice. I have to check that out.
Yeah, you got to see that, dude. There's all kinds of stuff like that. So this guy picks the gripper up, and it's actually not bad placement for a table no set squeeze, but then the camera angle changes so it can show how far away he is from closing the gripper, and it's so obvious to tell that the placement of the gripper has changed. It's not even funny. It's not in the same spot on his thumb. The angle's all different. And then obviously this dude isn't going to no-set a gripper, an HG 300, plus the fact that he's doing it left-handed, so it's going to be a little bit harder that way anyhow. But I just thought it was cool that not only did a brand spanking new HG 300 show up in a TV series, but also they didn't pay attention to their editing process. So must be they only have one camera shooting at a time or something on this show, which kind of brings the respect level down a little bit, brother. So the guy misses it, he's trying to do the strictest table no set close ever with an HG 300, and the guy across the table just kind of chuckles at him and got a little grin on, ha ha ha, knew you wouldn't get it. So yeah, so check out Limitless on Netflix, Alan. That's the latest submission of grip in movies and TV. So if anybody else sees anything else that you can point to that's cool, let us know, and we'll cover it here on the call. Back to more feats, Alan. What you got for me?
I was just looking at your Blobzilla lift and Anvil lift. That looked pretty sweet.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Yeah, it wasn't easy. I've been battling sore index fingers since I started training for nationals. The tips tester just wrecked my fingers. I cannot do anything like that, like a plate rim lift, that rim tops implement from the grip tops. I cannot do any of that stuff without having extremely sore fingers. Ever since I hurt myself back in like 2010 or 2011, just doesn't work out for me. So it's finally been feeling better here, and I wasn't able to lift Blobzilla for probably 6 weeks straight, and I was adding weight to it at the beginning of the year. So it felt good to finally lift it up again. So that was cool. And naturally, one of the next things on the list is lifting the Blob Father. So we'll see what happens, dude.
Have you been playing with that thing at all? Shock or anything on it?
Yeah, I mean, how do you define playing with it? Because I certainly haven't been toying with it, Alan, by any means. There has been no toying.
Attempts at all, though? Have you set out to see where you're at, or do you just kind of consider the way? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've also tried to pick up, cars and rip trees out of the ground, and both of them were about as close as what happened with Blob Father. So that is just a really, really hard block weight. Just so hard. But, I don't approach it necessarily like it's impossible by any means. It's just I know that I need to be able to dedicate time to it, and I haven't been able to do that up until this point. So been working on some other stuff. Luke got a new job, so he's been coming down actually on Wednesday mornings at like 8:30. So on those days, we've been training grippers, stub, which has been really, really exciting, and then also been training for the inch dumbbell clean. So there's just so much time that you can train, and most of it right now is going towards those feats and August of arms. So, but we'll get her. We'll get her there.
Nice. Okay.
Did you see, Alan? You familiar with the name Dave Depew at all?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see that he put one up, a lift in July called the Got Your Nose lift?
No. That sounds
all right.
interesting.
So, you know how, with a little kid, you'll go up and say, "Ooh, got your nose," and then you put your thumb in between your first two fingers, and then you act like you're going to eat it or throw it in the garbage or out the window of the car or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. So he was doing that with something. I don't know what it was. He was lifting something like that, maybe tens or something like that in between his fingers. I can't remember anymore. I'll have to look it up. But he was calling it the Got Your Nose lift. So it's really like finger adduction. But I thought it was pretty cool.
Nice. I got to try to check that out. I see it. I follow him on Instagram. I just must have missed that one.
Yeah. And it was a few weeks ago. It might have been around the time of South Jersey 4. So that might have interrupted it, your ability to catch it. So, but I'll pull that up. You cover one, and I will find out exactly what this is.
So I've been seeing some of Adam Glass's lifts lately. He's been putting up some. He does a lot of pinching. He's got kind of a barbell set up with like a 2-inch pinch block kind of around it somehow. I'm not sure how exactly he's got that. He must have to disassemble the bar and slide that over or something. But he's been pinching fairly regularly, 150 pounds, one-hand pinch on that thing, which is a really impressive one-hand number. It looks like he's got his sights set on 170 pounds. I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind the 170. But, yeah, a lot of that type of work at him. Well, I considered that, but he's actually well up over that right now. I think he's.
Oh, is he?
I think he's up. He's pushing up near like 200 pounds or something like that right now. He bulked up a bit. He was really, really leaned down for quite a while. Not that he's getting thick by any means, but he's definitely starting to put some mass back on. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's a cool. And I know Luke has made some implements based around that same concept too. I would like to hear how he's getting that on and off that barbell so efficiently in the gym. It looks to me like he just trains at kind of a commercial place. not so much at something, you know, like his house or anything like that. But
yeah. So how that's made is, man, I don't know how to describe it. So basically, you've got your blockish pipe, you know, the square pipe or whatever. And what he does is he welds a tube inside of it that you put another bar through. So probably what Adam's doing, if it's the same deal, is he is taking one of the sleeves and heads off the bar in order to channel that through, or put that through the channel that's inside of the block. That makes sense. Very, very possible. And I can't find the Got Your Nose Lift on Dave's Instagram. I've gone down pretty far. I would think I would be in the region where I would see it, but for some reason I can't find it. But basically he's just doing like a finger adduction lift where you're squeezing your fingers together and picking something up in between the fingers. So I thought it was pretty funny, though, that he called it the Got Your Nose Lift. He also came up with a wallet lift, which is kind of like a thick key pinch. And then also he found a picture of like some Usawa lifters doing the two-hand pinch with a gigantic front load, and he trained that for a while, like a week, to try to see how heavy he could go with an absolute total front load on a Euro pinch, and he got up to, let's see, 262 pounds or 119 kilograms, and I know that Ardo went even heavier than that. So some really big numbers being put up on that lift in the recent weeks, I should say.
Nice. Let's see.
And I cannot even believe how much time has gone by in this call already, and I'm not even halfway through with all the feats that I needed to cover, dude. Holy cow! How much more do you have? Do you have quite a bit more?
Well, I'm kind of, you know, I had made up a bunch on some other pages, so there are, but they're not in any particular order because I wanted to get caught up on a few of those competitions and get some updates out there about some of those things before they kind of went by the wayside.
Yeah. Well, maybe why don't we'll go over one more each, and then we'll save the rest of them for next week, dude.
Okay.
What do you got?
Let me see here. I'm trying to find. I had a big bunch of them. Oh, let's see. Like I said, I'm flipping back and forth here through some of these, trying to find the biggest ones.
Well, while you're looking there, I'll just give a shout-out to Brixton Maisels, who set some records for his weight class at his last weightlifting competition. Also, his older brother, I believe, set some records there, too. So showing some serious promise in the strength sports, those Maisels boys. He's got their dad, strength enthusiast, multiple sports, and does a good job really directing those boys in the right path of strength. So congratulations to those fellas. Back to you, Big Allen.
Yeah, no, the last thing that jumped out at me as of late was another one from Dan Fleming, hit over 110 pounds on the wrist wrench. So he is on
big. That's big,
yes,
dude.
that is huge. That is huge. Yep. He's got to be. I know he'd mentioned, that he hadn't lifted the inch in the past, but he has got to be flirting with it by now. That's just such a monstrous number. So
yeah, dude.
Hopefully he'll get his hands on one of those again soon.
Yeah, it may just be the fact that he doesn't have one. He's not able to familiarize himself with how he needs to place his hand on there. It could just be that small of a variable.
Yeah. Yep. That could be a huge thing.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
and then the last thing I'll point out is my buddy Luke recently was finally able to clean and then push press the Slater bell that we have, which is a steel shot loaded bell. It's got the hollow globes. It's from Steve Slater. It weighs about 120, 125 pounds, and he was finally able to clean it and then get it overhead as well. He's been working on that for several months. I believe the first time he tried that was December of like 2015 when James Fuller and John Stepien came up for like a 4 or 5 hour session that we had together. So congratulations to him on that. That's a PR that he's been working on for quite some time. And dude, I'll give it back to you, Alan. You can close this down unless you got any other big stuff you want to cover.
No, just I wanted to mention one other quick thing, just a get well quick to Gil Goodman. Sounds like he came down with a case of something that's going to have him decommissioned for a little while. So I hope he bounces back quick. Yeah, he had put something out there about Instagram about it. So get well soon, Gil. And
it's not fun, man. I know what he's got, and my sister and my dad both had that last year. So
yes, it's tough. I've known some people that have experienced that too, and it can really get you. So with that, well, that's it for episode 26 of This Week in Grip. I'd be anxious to see some more comments from people on some of these videos. Make sure you like the video and share it and subscribe, and we'll be back again next week. We'll see you then.